Your top story this hour, IFP supporters are appealing to the party to address unemployment should it be voted into power at this year's general election. Now, thousands of IFP supporters have been transported to Durban's Moses Mabhida Stadium in buses and taxis from across the country. IFP President Velenkosini Hlabisa is expected to present the party's election manifesto today. Let's take you live now to Moses Mabhida Stadium, where SABC News anchor Sakina Kamwendo is in conversation with IFP Spokesperson Mkhulekho Hlengwa.
And thanks so much, Mkhulekho, and welcome back to Moses Mabhida Stadium. And this, of course, the last of the big five parties and special broadcast for their manifesto launch. It is, of course, the turn of the Inkatha Freedom Party. And I'm joined now by the party's national spokesperson, Mkhulekho Hlengwa. Thanks so much for coming to our studio so we can have a word.
SK. Good morning to you and the viewers at home in Mkhulekho's studio.
So we see the supporters of the IFP streaming in. As per your calculations, what are we looking at numbers-wise?
We're looking at full capacity. In fact, we're not there yet, but we're pretty certain that within the hour we would have filled up. We aim to start at 11 and President Hlabisa to be on the podium at 12:30. So far so good. And from our side as a party, it's all systems go. The leadership has arrived here at the stadium, and I know that they are raring to go actually. So we're quite confident that today's proceedings will go as scheduled.
Mr. Hlengwa, of course, the first major election without Shenge, and we still, if we look across, see pictures of him. His presence still looms large over the IFP, and one would imagine it will for some time to come. But then others would ask, for how long? How long would that some time to come be? How is it looking succession-wise in the IFP? Are you confident that you would be able to sustain the party for the foreseeable future?
Well, I can tell you that after the third passing of Sheng in September last year, pundits did not give us till the end of 2023 saying the party would implode. But President Hlabisa is firmly at the helm, leading a united team on its onward march to 2024 and beyond. We are pretty confident that the leadership transition that Prince Buthelezi managed is going as planned, because he prepared us for this moment. So his absence really is a physical one, but his teachings, his vision and mission remains the North Star of the party, and we believe that President Hlabisa is a steady hand in this moment of transition. So we've got absolutely nothing to worry about. But also this election, we are demonstrating our own commitment to our founder and the vision that he had, because it could have been very easy for us to stray and start doing new things and adopting new cultures. So we are honoring Ushenge, but we honor him forward-looking, that we want to assure him, as he rests in peace, that the party founded in the service of the people continues doing exactly that. So there's stability in the party, there's unity in the party, and we believe that any disagreements, discussions and engagements that may be taking place are in the constructive spirit of growth and democracy, because after all, we are a political party and there will be from time to time robust debate, but we've got full confidence in the leadership of President Hlabisa.
Mr. Hlengwa, perhaps you could just be of assistance for us. We see another arrival, and this is where you've been all morning, making sure that you welcome all the dignitaries as they arrive. And we see the presence of Amabuto once more, and signaling perhaps another important arrival. Who are you aware of who's arriving now?
That would be Inkosi Zuzifa Buthelezi, the Prince of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. The Pindangene family has been a major support to the IFP. In fact, sometimes we feel that we should be giving them support for the sacrifices that Umntwana made not being at home, but they have really been a constant presence and reassuring us that we are doing things as Umntwana would have wanted. And so I want to thank the family of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi for the support and love and guidance that they are giving to the party, and also understanding that after all we are a political party, and so not interfering with the affairs of the party, allowing it to do the things that it needs to do politically. But Shenge led us for 44 years. He is our founder and president emeritus, and so we are hugely indebted to his life's work. And so his family is a reminder that he was a man of the people. So that would be the arrival of Prince Untutukaye Zuzuzifa Buthelezi arriving now.
If we will, just for a moment, listen to the salutation there for Inkosi Zuzifa Buthelezi, who's of course the eldest son of the late Shenge, and he is of course also now the leader of the Buthelezi clan.
And he's joined by Ndlunkulu Mamahale there and Ibamba Bukhosi, who I saw passing a moment ago. Who's his deputy in the Buthelezi clan there.
And the arrival of Inkosi Zuzifa Buthelezi here at the Moses Mabhida Stadium. And so we continue our discussion, Mr. Hlengwa, speaking about the importance of the Buthelezi clan, even post-Shenge, and what they continue to do for the IFP. We spoke about the succession, and you say that things are progressing well. You haven't veered away from the founding principles of the Inkatha Freedom Party. There is, of course, concern about the fact that you would be going to an elective conference after the elections. In August, is it? Yeah. That the IFP will then go on to choose new leadership. And some would say, why did you not do that prior to the election rather than going into an election and then going into a new leadership contest?
The conference of the IFP takes place every 5 years. The last conference was in August 2019, and therefore the term of office of the current leadership will expire in August 2019. The office of this SG is currently seized with ensuring the state of readiness insofar as branch inauguration is concerned, amongst others, in preparation for that too. You'll recall that we had the policy conference in December as well, so leading up to that conference. So we are really doing things on the basis of what is the constitutional prescripts of the IFP, and the structures will then engage in that work as soon as we open up the timelines for that. But it will not just be an elective conference as well. It will be mapping the roadmap now to 2026, and it will be a clearer picture for the conference to make decisions against the backdrop of the 2024 election results. So it works systematically for us in that case as well. So the conference should take place from in August or roundabout there. The leadership will make a determination, but we are keenly aware that the term of office expires in August.
As the Inkatha Freedom Party, are you happy with where things are, the way things are progressing? Are there concerns that you have as the IFP at this stage about how things may turn out post-elections?
Well, we're not going to preempt in totality the outcome of the election, but what we cannot ignore is that the reality of coalitions is upon us. The multi-party charter is not a political party. It's a platform for discussion and engagement, and as the IFP, we are contesting all those parties in the multi-party charter in these elections. We are going in hard and fast into these elections as the IFP, and today we are presenting a credible and viable alternative for South Africa, which we hope is going to gain traction and yield an election outcome which will bear a significant influence on the national discourse of the country, and then we engage in discussions in the multi-party charter when the time arises. So as far as the IFP is concerned, we will cross that that bridge when we get to it. But it would have been reckless and irresponsible as a party to stay away from coalition discussions so that we can understand them better, engage them better, look at modalities and scenario planning in certain instances, and also share experiences. You do recall we are also in a number of coalition governments and cooperations at local government level. So we need to lift out what works, lift up what doesn't work, and tweak it and fix it as part of the shared experience of all the parties. But what is not in dispute or in doubt is that when South Africans go to the polls the 29th of May, they will find the IFP as the IFP without any other matron of honor vibes or whatever. IFP nje ihamba yodwa.
All right, no matron of honor vibes, says Mkhulekho Hlengwa. I will park it there for the time being. Here from Moses Mabhida. But as promised earlier, we do have our reporters fanned out across the length and breadth of Moses Mabhida Stadium and the broader precinct. So let's take you now to which report are we going to now? Nonhlakanipho Magwaza is somewhere here. So let's find out where and exactly who she's with.
Yes, as you can see behind me, it is a continuous flow of IFP supporters coming to the stadium. It doesn't seem to end because
All right, unfortunately, sound letting us down there in our link to Nonhlakanipho. Let's go to one of our other reporters. Let's see who's available at the moment. Simpiwe Makanya is somewhere. So again, we try to cover all the angles here at Moses Mabhida. Simpiwe, where are you?
Thank you very much, Sakina. This is the main entrance to the stadium where we are, where thousands of IFP supporters continue, to trickle into the stadium. A lot of those supporters, Sakina, have already taken their seats. If I can just look around me. Let me ask my colleague, Tulani Ngobo, just to give our viewers a sense of what is happening on my right hand as those thousands of IFP supporters continue walking into the stadium in a jovial mood, Sakina, I might add, because this is the first time that the IFP is holding an event of this particular magnitude in a stadium like the Moses Mabhida Stadium with a capacity of up to 75,000 supporters. And of course, the IFP leadership earlier on when we spoke to them saying that they are quite hopeful that they will pack this stadium to capacity. And of course, earlier on we had reports that some of the buses that were making their way into the Moses Mabhida Stadium near Umtundini Toll Plaza, where three were apparently involved in a bus accident. But the good news is that there were no injuries that were reported and no fatalities. And the leadership of the party has since, sent additional buses to come and to go rather and fetch those that were left stranded as a result of that accident which occurred earlier on this morning. And let me now, Sakina, interact with some of the supporters who are here to get a sense of what their expectations are as the party will be launching its manifesto. Baba, asikubingelele baba sikwamukele endabeni. Sibonga kakhulu ngesikhathi sakho. Sethule ebese uyasitshela ukuthi wena njengomuntu osupport iqembu IFP yini olindele ukuzwa kule manifesto yanamhlanje.
Angibingelele umsakazi, igama lami ngumsebenzi kaMbuyazi sosuke Mtubatuba. Silindele umongameli wethu uBulawayo noprima candidate wethu Sompisi. Njoba silapha nje umsakazi sizofuna ukuthi umongameli wethu sishintshe impilo zabantu ukuthi lelizwe lingafani nayizolo. Noprima candidate wethu uthi uma simnikele isifundazwe impilo zabantu zishintshe ngoba kunobupha kusebenzi namanzi na zonke izinto. Siyathemba kungoje ukuthi noma sefikile noprima candidate wethu lelizwe ngeke lifane nayizolo. Sizocela ukuthi eSouth Africa ake besinikeze inkatha benikeze uBulawayo benikeze uMphemba yokuthi lelizwe lishintshe lingafani nayizolo. noprima candidate wethu asingabazi ukuthi lelizwe liyoshintsha lelifane nayizolo.
Siyabonga baba Sikhathana.
Bonga mina.
Well, that's the sentiment from the supporter who has come here all the way from Durban to be part of this particular manifesto launch. He was talking about the issue of change, saying that as IFP members and supporters, they want to see change in this province and change nationally. They want to hear the president of the IFP, Mr. Velenkosini Hlabisa, speaking at length about some of the challenges that are facing the residents and citizens of this particular province, issues of unemployment, issues of crime, and issues of gender-based violence. Then also engage another supporter who has come here to witness this particular event. Ma, asibingelele sikwamukele endabeni. Wena uqhamukapi nokuthi yini oyilindele ukuzwa umholi wena ekhuluma ngayo namhlanje?
Qhamuka eLeskopo emangweni esikhothi endaweni yase-Ward 5. Ebengilindele ungakhulunywa umholi ngelanga lanamhlanje. Ngilindele ukuthuthuka kwentuthuko. Ngilindele ukuthuthuka kwentuthuko iye phambili. Iveza amathuba omsebenzi kahle. Umntwana wakaphinda angene ezweni lakhe alimela. Walimela ngokukhulu ukukhandla nokuyimpumelelo.
Uyakholelwa yini ukuthi ubuholi obukhona manje be-IFP bungakwazi ukuletha le nguquko okhuluma ngazo?
Ngiyakholelwa kakhulu ku-IFP neshumi leminyaka nge-IFP yisikhokho sokumilela kuleli qembu. Ngicela ukuthi nje engathi singathuthukela phambili futhi nginethemba nginexholo nginokuyiqhayisa ngenkathi uFreedom Park umntwana waphinda angene.
Siyabonga Masikhathana.
Amen.
Very optimistic opinions here from the supporters of the IFP. Thousands of them, I might add. Let me just step out of the shot and ask my colleague Tulani Ngobo to give our viewers a sense of what is happening at this particular stadium where we are. Thousands of those supporters have already taken their seats. The ones that we have been able to speak to are highlighting the issues of youth unemployment. They are highlighting the issue of crime. They are highlighting the issue of service delivery, saying that they hope that when the IFP, takes over the province of KwaZulu-Natal, they will be able, to address the problems that the people of KwaZulu-Natal, have been for time and time again, talking about. But of course, the 29th of May is the actual date where South Africans will be given an opportunity to exercise their democratic right of choosing who they want, to lead them in various provinces as well as nationally. But from where we are, I can certainly tell you that there is a lot of, excitement, jovial spirits, supporters of the IFP up, some of them singing, dancing, anticipating that speech by the IFP president, Mr. Velenkosini Hlabisa. Sakina, I'm not sure if I'm going to link back to you or link back to studio in Johannesburg.
And welcome back here to Moses Mabhida Stadium. It is the turn of the Inkatha Freedom Party, and of course they are launching their manifesto for 2024 today. And you heard there from the national spokesperson, also just keeping an eye on the arrival of dignitaries, and of course how the stadium is filling up, because trust and believe, it's not just us who are here. Those parties who have been here before also very keenly interested in the turn up here at Moses Mabhida today. I'm joined now by one of our colleagues, and of course Ayanda Msongo is one who knows this province and its politics right on the ground very well. Ayanda, thanks so much for stopping by. But of course, we are now looking at how the stadium is filling up. There are holes, but I can tell you the holes are where the sun is beating down at the moment, but it is filling up quite nicely. What are we hearing about what's happening in the precinct in and around the stadium in terms of the numbers of people still trying trying to get in.
Yeah, well, absolutely, Sakina, as you're saying that, of course, it is incredibly hot outside. I mean, I've been moving around the stadium just trying to gauge what is happening inside the stadium and, of course, outside. I also happened to speak to the national chairperson of the Women's Brigade, who was also saying to me, she's really quite happy and confident that they're going to be able to fill up the stadium. In fact, Sakina, she was saying that they went right down to the numbers. So they looked at each area and they were able to verify how many people were going to fill each bus, each taxi. She's saying that she's been predominantly working in the province of Mpumalanga, and they had already about 1,000 people that had arrived, confirming that they had arrived here at the stadium from the province of Mpumalanga. But of course, as we know, that the majority of the people that we're going to see here today do come from the province of KwaZulu-Natal. But indeed, the IFP is quite pleased so far. I mean, if we're looking at the time as well, we were here with you, Sakina, for the EFF, we were here again for the ANC, and I think around about this time, it was the same amount of people that already started to come in during the first two manifestos. So it is looking pretty good. Of course, there is going to be some nervousness. I mean, you were speaking to Mkhulekho as well, the spokesperson of the IFP, and he was pretty nervous this morning. But I do get it comes with holding such an event. And we've been saying, Sakina, that this is the biggest venue that the IFP is taking on, a capacity of up to 75,000 people. Previously, the IFP has held its manifestos in the heart of Zululand, in the Zululand district, where of course it enjoys its strongest support here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We saw it in 2021, if we remember, for the first time they're moving out of the traditional strongholds with the manifesto launch that was in Chatsworth. It was also an interesting move for the IFP then. 2019 they went back to Ulundi, but this by far is the biggest venue that the IFP is taking on, and they're saying that it's important for them also not to be comfortable, to test themselves. So this is really going to be a massive test for the IFP in terms of its support base here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal.
And as you say, very important, but of course, the beach, not too far from us here, also plays a big part. And we've seen this with the various political parties, where some of the people who have come in, who've been bussed in, make their way to the beach rather than to the stadium.
Unfortunately, Sakina, that's what you have to contend with. We saw it with the EFF, we saw it with the ANC, and I think no doubt it's going to be the same with the IFP, especially people that are coming from outside, other provinces, not even outside of other provinces, but if you're coming from northern KwaZulu-Natal, where you don't often get a chance to go to the beach, I mean, why not? You just right here, so people would want to go take a dip. Question is, do they take a dip and come back, or do they stay and enjoy the day at the beach? But it is something that the IFP leaders were also worried about, and saying that they're going to be moving around sort of the outer perimeter of the stadium, trying to encourage people to come through. In the morning when we were coming, we were also seeing people going out of the stadium, and we were actually laughing to say, don't go to the beach, stay, So, I mean, it's all parties, unfortunately. There will be some people who just want to hitch a ride on the bus to Durban. Others will be here to go to the beach. Others might be here just to go to the city, run some errands. We've also heard that as well, Sakina. So, I mean, it does happen. We've seen it with the other parties. But I guess the IFP is hoping that they're going to be able to draw the support and keep them here, or at least until the president of the IFP finishes his speech.
And that's expected to happen in just over an hour and 5 minutes time from, it's only 10:30, so he's only expected to speak at 12:30.
Around 12,
so,
yes.
2 hours and 5 minutes from now, so still quite a bit of time for the supporters to make their way here. But just a final question before I hand it back to Studio Ayanda, as someone who has their ear on the ground here in the province, and of course when you speak to the party itself, there is of course a need to project a unified image, but what are you hearing? What are you seeing on the ground as it pertains to the unity within the party? Is there much strife, post the Shenge era, or are they really united? Is it going to be a smooth one in August when they do go to that elective conference?
A difficult question, Sakina, but also difficult on the side of the IFP leaders. Listen, to be honest, they have been trying over the past couple of months, in particular the president of the IFP, Velenkosini Hlabisa, as well as the provincial chairperson, who we know that there has been sort of this divisions between the two of them, thus creating sort of factions within the party. Those still exist, Sakina. I mean, we speak to members of the IFP and other leaders of the IFP. There's certain issues that within the IFP they don't agree with. And one being, of course, the multi-party or the multi-charter agreement. The youth brigade, or those within the youth brigade, still feel that it was a bit rash or hasty decision for the IFP to agree to be part of it, to sort of say, let's not close the door, let's open the door for discussions with other political parties. So definitely there is still, those divisions within the IFP. But I think it was important for them, as we're seeing now, for them to put on the strong and this united front we've been seeing in the rallies, in the mini rallies, in the build up to today, the two seated together. They've really gone out to try and sort of show that we are united. But as you were saying, as we move on towards the elections, they're going to have to get their house in order, Sakina, sort themselves out, because it's one thing to put up a manifesto. They've still got a long way to go to May 29.
Indeed, and of course, looking at some of the other variables that have suddenly been thrown at them, like the emergence of MK Party, it's going to be very important for the Inkatha Freedom Party to get its house not just in order, but united to fight this particular battleground that is KwaZulu-Natal. Right, with that, we leave you with these pictures from Moses Mabhida. Mkhulekho, it's back to you in studio.
Thanks very much for that, Sakina. That's our colleague there, Sakina Kamwendo, in conversation with Ayanda Mhlongo as well, just giving us some of the latest conversations to come out of the Moses Mabhida Stadium. This is ahead of the IFP delivering its manifesto ahead of that all-important election. And of course, you heard their conversations swaying towards this party, and turnout on today's event, which will provide a glimpse into the party's strength going into the May 29 general election, and also conversation about how this is the IFP's first election without founding president Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, who passed away last September.